Welcome back to Clash of Cultures. As we continue along with our 2023 college football preview series, we take a look at the Nebraska versus Iowa game. But as you guys can see, my dad is not here with us today. He is still on his business trip. So we substituted in a Nebraska alum, a Nebraska diehard fan, my childhood friend, Alex. He's been in the comment sections a few times. He is the infamous commenter who wanted to see the Nebraska versus Colorado preview. So I decided to bring him on the show today. We're not previewing Nebraska, Colorado, but we are doing Nebraska versus Iowa. Should be a little bit better of a matchup. It was a 7-point win last year for his Cornhuskers. But before we get into too much of the football conversation, as always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload. Also, we have the college football pick'em. So down below in the description, make sure you guys join that. I believe there's like 20 people in there right now. So the numbers are growing there. Tomorrow is our first live stream at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Make sure you guys show up there as well. It's going to be highly dependent on fan interaction and how we kind of navigate throughout the show and the topics and stuff like that. But with all that being said, Alex, how do you feel about your Nebraska Cornhuskers this year? Before we talk about Iowa, just what are your overall thoughts on your guys' team this year?
I'm excited. We obviously got a new coach with Matt Rule. We got a big transfer in Jeff Sims for quarterback. We have a bunch of defensive starters coming back. Got some of our running backs back. It's going to be a completely different offense. Scott Frost kind of ran a spread type offense, and I think Matt Rule really talked about how he wants to run the ball more. And I know myself included, a lot of Nebraska fans want us to run the ball more like we did in the 90s. But we'll just see how that goes. I mean, this happens every year. I get excited about something new, but hasn't been very good since.
Well, I don't really knock you for that. I feel like that's every fan base, to be honest. Every fan base kind of goes into the year with super high expectations. But I do think, obviously, I'm an ACC guy, so you guys getting Jeff Sims, I think that's going to be big for you guys. Obviously, with Rule coming over as well, he's a proven college football coach. I think it's going to be interesting. I think this game is going to be just as good as it was last year. Those of you guys who watched our Nebraska, well, my dad and I's Nebraska and Iowa preview videos, prediction videos, know who I went with in this game. We'll get predictions a little bit later. Sims from the ACC. I was a little bit higher on Nebraska, as well as Rule being a proven college football coach. So I think this game is going to be pretty good. But I did pick, like I said, I am picking Nebraska to win this game. I think with the home field advantage, obviously Nebraska won this game last year, 24-17. But I think with home field advantage, it's just going to be a plus for them. And I think Jeff Sims is really the difference maker. A lot of people don't like him as a quarterback. I personally do. Played him 2 or 3 times, obviously being a Clemson fan. So I've seen him in live action in the ACC. So I do expect it to be kind of a lot better for Nebraska. Like I said, we already did Nebraska and Iowa predictions. We saw the transfers that Nebraska brought in from Georgia, again, Georgia Tech. So I think it's going to be a solid year for Nebraska. Those of you guys who watch the predictions, I had them, I believe, going 9-3 or 10-2. I think they have a chance to go into the Big Ten title game. Obviously, I don't have them winning against Penn State, Ohio State, or Michigan, but just even to go 8-4 or 9-3 for you guys, I feel like would be a win. Before we kind of talk more about this game, what is your what is your expectations for Nebraska?
I mean, with a new coach, I mean, I try to temper those expectations. He's got to change not only he's got to implement his culture. He's got to deal with a bunch of transfers and players that he didn't necessarily recruit that were already there from Scott Frost. So I don't really know what to expect. It would be really nice if we at least got to a bowl game. I don't know. We've had years without going to a bowl game. So I'm just setting my standards kind of low. So when I saw the video when you said we could go 10-2, I was like, I got pretty excited about that. But I don't know. I'm trying not to get too excited.
The reason why I think that, if you look at their schedule, so obviously on the screen you guys can't see it, but I'll just read it out to you. So they play Minnesota in week 1. To me, that's a winnable game. Oh, yeah. You play Colorado. I believe that's a winnable game.
Right.
Northern Illinois, and then La Tech. Those are 4 very winnable games. I mean, you could realistically start off 4-0. Right. I feel like 3-1 at the absolute worst. But I would say they're 4-0 after that. You play Michigan, who obviously is going to be a heavy favorite in that game. Mm-hmm. Then Illinois, Northwestern, Purdue, Michigan State, Maryland, Wisconsin, Iowa. I feel like the only game that is really stands out as not being winnable is the Michigan game. Right. So it just depends. Obviously, this video is for the Nebraska-Iowa game, but that's why I have Nebraska winning this game. I think by the time this year, the year is done, again, this is the final game for Nebraska. This is their 12th game. I think by this point, Matt Rule is going to implement at some point of culture with this team. And I think he's going to be able to kind of put his stamp on the program. I think Jeff Sims, albeit he's healthy and everything works out there, I think he's going to have, his kind of, he's going to have the reins on the offense. I think the defense is going to be decent. I think they're going to be improved from last year. So I don't see a world where Nebraska is 6-6 or better. Especially not with Rule as a coach. I think he's a great coach. I think Jeff Sims is an above average quarterback. So I don't see them. I don't see you guys, sorry, being less than 6-6. Could I see you guys dropping the game to Iowa? Of course, because Iowa is another team that's fighting to get to that Big Ten title game along with Wisconsin. So I wouldn't be shocked by any means if Iowa won by 1 or 2 scores, because I think Iowa is, top to bottom a better team than Nebraska is. But I just have that optimism that Rule can kind of turn the program around by that point in the season.
Right, and I think that home field advantage is going to be really huge. I mean, and they got it all really comes up to the quarterbacks, right? Like we got Sims as a transfer, and they also got Cade McNamara too. So
yeah, he's a good quarterback.
It's really about how those guys perform and adjust and settle into the new programs that they're at. So I'm curious. Like you said, we could go 3-1 those first 4 games. Which one of those games you think we're like more likely to lose? You think?
I would say probably Minnesota. Honestly, that's really the only game that I can see. I think you guys beat Northern Illinois and La Tech pretty handily. Obviously, there's a lot of question marks surrounding Colorado, so we don't really know. They have a lot of talent on paper, but I mean, they brought in 55 or 54 transfers. So they're in a situation where they're still trying to learn how to play together and mesh together. Obviously, you have Dion as a head coach, which we don't really know what he can do at the Power 5 or Division 1 level. So I would say Minnesota is the game I kind of circled. But I mean, again, even Colorado, but I don't think you guys will drop both of those games.
For
if
sure.
I had to bet, I would say you guys are 4-0 after the first 4 games.
Yeah, and like what's interesting about the Minnesota game first is like PJ Fleck is having all like a lot of issues like outside the locker room going into the season with like there's like allegations of hazing and stuff like that. So I wonder if that'll carry into the game. People not focused. Maybe we can capitalize on that a little bit.
Yeah, but what would your score prediction be for this Nebraska Iowa game? If you had to, I know it's hard, but if you had to give a score prediction on the game,
I think it'll probably be a touchdown game like it was last year. I mean, you got 2 new quarterbacks. I know it's the very end of the season. It's on Black Friday, so after Thanksgiving, well, these teams will be settled in more, more familiar with their offenses. I don't know. I mean, Iowa's always played good defense, but they did lose a lot of talent last year. I mean, they lost 2 first-round picks to
Jack Campbell and
Tyler
Mann. That's right.
Yep, and then they also lost some corners too, and we lost Trey Palmer.
Or Luke Van Ness, not Tyler.
Yeah, Lucas Van Ness. Yeah, we lost Trey Palmer, which was a huge help for us in that game, and he went to the Bucks. So it'll be interesting. I mean, usually they're a really sound a defensive team, but they got a new quarterback who's really talented, and they got the Johnson, the running back, and he ran for 100 yards on us last year. So I think it'll be probably around the same thing, like 24-17.
Yeah, I could see it right around there. I probably have Nebraska winning by 3 or a touchdown as well. If I had to put something, I would say 20-17 Nebraska. But I think there's a lot of negative connotation coming towards Cade McNamara because he lost his job to JJ McCarthy. Again, JJ McCarthy is a top 5 type quarterback in college football. Yeah. Losing your job to that kind of guy does not mean you're a bad quarterback or a bad player. I think he's an upgrade to Iowa. Iowa hasn't really been known to have really good quarterbacks. I think he's the best quarterback to come around that program in quite a while. So I think it's going to help them. Again, I think if this game was played in week 1, I would favor Iowa because they are a more, I guess, solidified team with less question marks. And Nebraska, we kind of don't know. There's a lot of things up in the air with Nebraska. Obviously, that'll be Rule's first game. So the fact that this is the last game of the season, I give the benefit of the doubt to him. I think he's going to be able to control his team by that point, kind of get them more composed and ready to play against a matchup that really, in all honesty, in my eyes, could decide who goes to the Big Ten title game. Again, both of these teams, I think I had Iowa going 9-3, or I might even have them going 10-2. I don't really remember. We did, 60 previews on this channel in the last 2 months. But I think this game could decide who goes. Even if, let's say, Nebraska is 7-4 by this point, and they don't have a chance. If they knock off Iowa, it may send Wisconsin there. Because I think of the teams on that side of the conference, I think Iowa, Wisconsin, and Nebraska are my 3 that I can see realistically going. So I think this game has major Big Ten title game implications. And we'll just have to see. Again, I favor whoever comes out of the other side with Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. But I wouldn't mind seeing Nebraska go to the Big Ten title game. They haven't really been in any meaningful football in a really long time. I know when we did the Iowa preview, I was talking to my dad. I'm sure you watched it, but Iowa was like in the top 3 in 2016 in the AP poll or the college football playoff rankings or something like that. And that's crazy to me because I don't ever remember them being that high. I don't remember the last time Nebraska was, in the top 10 or so.
I think we got close back in maybe 2016 or 17. I think we were undefeated for a while and we lost to Michigan State or something like that. I think it was.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think this game's going to be good. But as always, thank you guys so much for sticking around. But before we head out, I do have trivia for Alex. So let's go ahead and do that. He's taking the place of my dad today. So let's see if he can do better than what he would normally do on these. Again, this is one of those name that college for the player. So we'll start off with Derek Carr. What college did he go to?
Fresno State.
Okay, 1 of 1. He said that with confidence too, yo. Oh, he's coming heavy. Okay. Number 2, we're going to go with Micah Hyde.
Micah Hyde. You go Virginia Tech?
No. He went to a Big Ten school.
Ohio State?
No.
Oh, I have no idea.
Micah Hyde went to Iowa. So Iowa fans in here are going to butcher you. He went to Iowa.
That's fine. I'm trying to pay attention where they go.
Alrighty. Next up, so you're 1 of 2 right now. Next up, we have Marcus Peters.
He went to Washington.
Went to Washington. Okay, 2 of 3. Last one, can you make it 75%? Another corner, Chris Harris Jr.
Ooh.
He went to I'll give you a hint. He went to a school that isn't typically good, but had a good year last year. And they are a Power 5 school.
Aren't typically good.
So they've been,
What conference?
The Big 12.
Big 12. Oh, you go to Kansas State?
No, he went to Kansas.
Oh, Kansas. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Kansas, yep.
Okay.
But that is going to be the trivia for today's video. As always, thank you guys so much. And again, I can't stop beating this drum. Tomorrow's live show is at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you guys are there. It's going to be super fun. It's going to be about an hour or two, however long. I guess we decide to go. But also, we are monetized, so join the membership down below as well. There should be a little join button next to the subscribe channel or the subscribe button. Depending on what tier you choose, you can have a chance to come up here and talk ball with us. So that'll be fun. But as always, we will see you guys tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you at the live show. Peace out.
Oh, wait. One more thing. Do you know what Iowa stands for?
What?
Idiots out wandering around.
This dude is an idiot. We'll see you tomorrow.